welcome to a public seminar hosted by the Faculty of Economics, Thammasat University. Today we have a paper present here. The name is Dynamic Systemic Vulnerability and Middle Income Trap Comparative Study of Singapore and Thailand. Actually, today we have the two authors of this paper. Please join me welcome อาจารย์ Monthien Satimanon and อาจารย์ Thasanee สติมานนท์ครับ
And we have a very limited class today because of final exam and whatever. Just to tell you a brief story about this paper here. I got funding from the Thailand Research Fund to do something about Singapore and Thailand. Comparative studies actually between Thailand and Singapore. So I split it off a little bit to just do something about to test under some theory whether these things can still work, and I found out that I have to extend what actually have been done in the past by one of my friends back in US. So I extend his concept a little bit, okay, because normally what he developed along with lead donor and the other guy is Dan Slater is that they developed a systemic vulnerability since I think 2005 in that earlier paper to just explain something about technical capacity or whatever. But for me, I split it off to the side to say that if we compare between Thailand and Singapore, and then we just look at it and look at how dynamically change between these two countries, we're gonna see some very interesting picture here, okay? And by the way, I'm gonna just this is my agenda for today, and I think I'm gonna talk maybe about not to an hour, but the rest can be about talk about something like that here. Agenda gonna be something about introduction, right? And we're gonna talk about my very small narration of what is middle income trap, not like extended to whatever Karas or other guys say about middle income trap here. And I can talk about the whole concept of dynamic system vulnerability a little bit, okay? Since some of you might heard about it, some of you might not heard about it at all. And then we're gonna say that it can be dynamic in a sense, not just have only one key component over there. Because this thing is used to explain Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, and other countries during that early day of developmental state over there. But it can be said that it can be extended to be more dynamic sense, especially in terms of coalitional structure and coalitional theory over there. And last one, I'm going to compare between Thailand and Singapore, just to see how each two countries developed so far in terms of both policy, and some part of it is going to be outcome and the conclusion. And here, introduction. Because we have a chance to interview some professor over there in Singapore too. I interviewed one of the professors. His name is Lim Chong Ya, very old guy, and he's about I think he's going to be about 80 something years old already. And he used to write a book, okay, for Thammasat's sake, okay. He used to write a book with Ajahn Poi, but he's not yet, okay. And in 1960, okay, when he first met Ajahn Poi, he just traveled from Singapore to Thailand here. And what he found out that during the time in 1960, he was impressed Singaporean professor, okay. And right now he is I think emeritus professor for both NUS and NTU. He chairs both emeritus professor over there. He just kind of impressed. He said that at the time he is impressed with air conditioning car to pick him up from the airport and then send him to L1 hotel, in which it is more luxurious than whatever hotel that they have over there in Singapore in 1960. And then Thailand was more prosperous than Singapore. That is what he said. We just talk about Thailand and Ajahn Poi over there. However, okay, when we compare something regarding Thailand, and it might be a little bit here. This one is statue market in Singapore in 1960, right? Look like normally. And if we compare to Thailand, this one is 2015 conclave market in Thailand here. You may see a little bit of how far we go even in terms of the market over there. And then what we want to show you guys next is that why do I motivate to just study about Singapore and Thailand is that something like this here. Because in middle income trap, okay, just one very small assumption here is that if we look at these, okay, and we just follow what we define as a middle income trap, it's just a country, right, middle income, and you cannot develop, or you have small prospect, right, to develop into a high income country. And under this MIT, right, Thammasat said that it just we have been stuck there. We have been surpassed by the fellow middle income country and just surpass you here. In the case of Thailand, we can say that right now that if we just use the definition like this one, Ajahn Somchai over at TDI, he employed by Green Park and Chin, he postulated that Thailand has been stuck in middle income trap since 1995. So my definition is something like this one. We start there even before the East Asian economic crisis. And the other guy just fly past by us here. And in 1990s, we don't have the middle income trap yet, okay? But the other economists, okay, prominent economists, Thammasat, who wrote the book with the bookman over there, when he gave our seminar here at our faculty in 1990s, he called the phenomena that Thailand encountered is what he called a simple or lighter economy. You can produce only Thayo, right? You can do Thayo, right? The lighter. We don't have our own brand yet. Thayo is actually Japanese brand. The cheap lighter that you can buy 10 baht or whatever, right? He said that Thailand can produce Thayo, not produce Sippo, right? Stuck in the middle. You cannot produce the high value added, even lighter. And one more thing that is more fascinating about Thayo is that lighter, Thayo is that Thailand copy the Thayo brand from Japan too. So that's why I just thought, okay, we have been stuck in them, okay? Even though just simple thing as lighter that you can see over there, we have produced a low end one, and you even copy the brand of the low end lighter.
Japan went through that process as well.
Yes, but this one means that in 1990 we still stuck at that. Cannot produce it for just produce only this particular part here. But you might find very odd when we compare Thailand and Singapore is that when we look, okay, everybody suggests that if you want to just go out of the middle income trap, okay, go back say 2011 that the keyword is here, productivity, education skills, creativity, innovation, competition, inclusive growth, and reduce persistent high income. So everybody's prescribed this. But why do we start there in 1995, okay? It's just a thing that I trace back and make a comparison between Thailand and Singapore in this particular case. Because it just seems to be very kind of quite similar in terms of policy. In Singapore, okay, in 1960, after World War II, and after they just broke free policy in 1959, they, at the time, okay, poverty is right, and looked similar to Thailand. You can see in that market. And they imported technocrat. Similar to the case of Thailand, who he imported is actually Albert Vincennes, okay? The UN economist, actually he is a Dutch. And this is what he specified over the period in which he tenured as an economic advisor to Singapore for 20-something years. First thing first, right, in 1960, labor-intensive, low-value-added textile. You don't have technology, right, for there. Secondly, cinema too small, no protection. But the other thing else that might be quite similar along the way of that 20 years is what? You have housing development, in which they have what we call Housing and Development Board over there, okay, or HDB. They just say all the time that 20 years, right, in that 20 years, industrial upgrading, the International Financial Center, and internal traffic and transport and harbor plus airport over here. That is what the press part, quite important thing. Now we look at Thailand here. Thailand Development Plan, especially from NUSDB, from whatever the first plan, until 1997. We focus on these two, labor intensive, right, and do import substitution along with export promotion. We also have our own version of housing development, okay, in Thai is called การเคหะแห่งชาติ but by far completely different from HDB. And then we have what? Industrial upgrading, we have the IDF, and then what else do we have? We want to have the international hub too. However, okay, just imagine how many years apart before they have Changi, when they have Changi Airport, right? We don't have what? Suvarnabhumi Airport at all. We just have the old airport over there. So policy prescription is the same, quite similar throughout the year. For whatever 1960 over there, right? That in Thailand, it is the same things, but we start there. But on the contrary, Singapore just fly off, okay? They can be number one in a lot of things, okay? So what I try to figure out is that even that the same policy prescription, what actually explains the difference, okay, in terms of the income level here. The other thing I want to show you guys is that when they have that, okay, what difference between Thailand and Singapore is that this one is the other example. Singapore have a development of what we call Productivity Institute since 1964, in which that thing has been prescribed by joint committee between Albert Vincennes and all those guys, okay, in the Singapore government. What we see is what they have this thing, okay, since 1964. And Thailand, the one that we have, okay, just started in 1997 after the financial crisis. So you might see something a little bit, right? Say policy prescription, but in terms of implementation, something about 30 years apart. So what we want to know is why, okay, that we have something like this here. So what we want to know is that can we apply this thing that donor legislator and legislator 2010 and donor 2015 to do, okay? Why does Singapore just move fast? People might say that it is because Singapore has been colonized or whatever, right? But in actuality, is okay, what Richie's donor and Slater has specified is what? The difference is what here? It's just different on first structural condition of the two countries. In 1960, both of them are poor, right? Singapore are also poor. People are what? Not well educated. Similar things, okay? But the thing that make them more prone to what growth is what here? They have something that they can just chip away to this here. In structural conditions, sorry that I want to just make this one short. Have you ever heard of this term before? Systemic vulnerability? No. If no, okay, there are three components of structural condition. One is external threat, in which whether you are what confront with other nation or not, right? In the case of Singapore, they have what at the time in 1950 and 1960, they confront with Malaysia and also Indonesia because of their confrontation policy over there, and they have to split up from Malaysia at the time. The other thing that might be different is the other thing that we call natural resources endowment. Thailand had a very in the past, okay, have a very abundant resources here. And the last one is about coalitional structure over there. So there are three structural conditions over there. And in that particular case, okay, all things that work for them is that this thing leads to what we call coalitional break of the two countries that can become very different, okay? And we follow this one to what we call theory of coalitional origin, okay? And in this case, coalitional origin means what? If we have some structural condition, it means that upgrading economy requires some part of coalitional structure over there. And because Singapore, they have what? They have the underlying structural condition in 1960 that are suitable for more what we call broader coalitional structure. And this thing are neat because at the first part, right, if we want to increase productivity or upgrade economy, what we see is that by the modern day theory is that upgrading economy requires what? Massive amount of technology, information, and this has to be shared across the board. Singapore partially can do that because of what they have to share. And why do they have to share is something like this here. Compared to Thailand, when Thailand has what here, depend on less technological demanding industry. That is the case of Thailand right in the 1960s. Such as selling more raw material, natural resource to generate wealth. The process usually require what? Less participation or narrow cooperation. So our structural condition is different is what? In 1960, Singapore has nothing. And then if you want something, you need to have what broader coalitional structure. In Thailand, 1960, even though we are poor, but the way in which we generate the revenue just come from what? You might just say that, okay, Thai farmer can sell a lot of rice, right? He used to be number one rice exporter. We used to export a lot of what? In product, right? Think of whatever here. Compared to these to Singapore, Singapore doesn't have rice. It just becomes entrepot state in which they can only what? Trade a small amount of goods. But if you are small, if you trade the goods, you cannot produce thing, right? And then if you want to produce something, you have to just have a broader coalition here. But on the contrary, is okay, but the case of Thailand in 1960s and 70s, even though you are poor, but the government by itself, right? Or people who are in power, they can still generate enough revenue, right? By relying on resource-based industry. Or the other word to say is what? Agricultural commodities over there. However, okay, when these, okay, when Singapore had to create a broad coalitional structure, it had a feedback effect actually. Narrow coalition in the case of Thailand lead to what? It just leads to what we call a more narrow society, okay? But without broad input here, we cannot create institutions and policy that benefit themselves and in the process marginalize. So that is the thing that's suggested by the theory of coalitional origins and try to suggest this to what we see in both Singapore and Thailand here. And the last to two or three parts is that when we just follow what Bruno and Mesquita argued in 2000 is that in this case, okay, and this one is just more or less in terms of democratic society a little bit here by saying that when you want border coalition, it just not come out for free, right? When you want people to join, participate in whatever social organization, or just move together to just for what, not to even labor intensive good. You need what we call compensation in terms of public goods. Why do you have to work hard? You work hard because when you put the resource together, right, it comes back in terms of public goods. That's why we see in 1960, okay, Singapore had HDB. At that time, Singapore had slum. And if you want people to just work harder, right, you work harder because you can get what? You can get a better housing. You can get a better apartment. And you can get a better set of living provided by the government. Compared to the case of Thailand, okay, the other thing that we see is one here. In this particular part in 1960, coalition doesn't need, right? You just want trade the rice. And later on, you just develop industry. But Singapore, by needing more border coalition, you just have to get everyone in, right, and provide a side payment in terms of public goods. In modern day, you might call this one populist policy, right? Government provide you free house. But back in the old days, it's just a start of developmental state. Thinking here. And this thing not only happened in Thailand. In Korea, during Park Chung-hee era, the way in which they promote the industry is what? Yes, I want to promote cement industry, right? Steel industry, right? But then that cement and steel industry was used to do what? Build a house in the rural area. Government provide you the free house, but use what? Subsidized cement and subsidized steel. So that other thing in which that happens, okay? Compare again to the case of Thailand here, okay? If your revenue, especially in the case of Singapore, if your government revenue can only be generated by extracting small amount of numerous people, or just collecting tax from only Singaporean people here, not just extract the resource. Because Singapore have no land, have no agriculture, right, or anything else, right? So the thing is, when you have this, you have to just modify the tax system, right, in which you might call Singapore autonomous country or whatever, right, but in some part in the past, it's just a socialist country with autonomous ruler over there. You just need what? You need a good tax code, right, to get enough tax, but that tax for PAP or People Action Party's same power, it needs to transfer back into the public good too, to the people here. And back to this one, okay, if you want to put it all together, those structural conditions make what? Make Singapore move up to what we call, move down to what we call bought and participative coalition here. Singapore moved there because they need to do so. If not, you're going to be what here? You're going to actually be confront many obstacles, right? During the time in 1960, you cannot sell your goods to Malaysia, right? You are in terms of what here? Confrontation with those things in Indonesia. But Thailand, okay, in some part, with very low external threat in 1960, except communist parties, they just become what? Narrow and broad coalition. Sorry to say this one here, okay? I will not touch much about the issue over there. But in Thailand since 1960, right, you're going to see that all the things, right, have been converged to Bangkok here. Bangkok and unity and later on. It just becomes narrow coalition and combined with little participation. And what you might see next in what Rishi explained in terms of simple systemic vulnerability is that in this case, it creates two games up there. One is what we call, in the case of Singapore, because you want people, right? You want to develop people, you want to just get their revenue, you just want to get their tax. It just becomes what we call developmental alliance, okay, in which they form what we call harmony game over there. Society have their own value out there. You have to survive, right? And how can you survive? By economic means. But in the case of Thailand, it just becomes prisoner dilemma game in which, okay, it just between a war between getting the resource and this one distribution alliance. It doesn't mean that it's going to be more equalized. Distribute it for what here, the one who doesn't have power to the one who have the power. That's why you see since development in 1960, right, to early 1980s, you have something what stupid like premium whatever, right? And you just suck up the resource from the rural area to the urban cities here. And the other thing that happened is what Even that if the elite want to maintain the status quo, what should you do with education? There is what Richie is facing at 2010 is that in Thailand, one word is here is that, I'm not sure whether it's still around, education system has political priorities. If you want to maintain that distributional alliance, right, only one way is what? Educate people in the way that it just become not for the growth sake of economic or technology priorities, but it's for what? Political priorities instead. And needless to say, right, these political priorities mean it's been what? Compared to the Singaporean case, okay, in 1960, you have to be educated because they want what? They want more marginal product of labor, right? You move from unskilled labor to semi-skilled labor that you can work in the workforce or whatever, right? And you later on, they have something like what? Those technical university or whatever, right? But in Thailand case, from that time, okay, our first university is for what year? Kuborakat proposed, right? Even in the case of Thammasat, right, it is for what? So we are saying this year, it's just what to serve for what year? It's partially, right, the first one going to be something like laws, right? Something like that, right? It's just used for what? For political priorities, right? And there is what which is the case in 2010, and I'm not sure whether it's still there or not, okay? But what we see later on is that even these structures, okay, under the very static systemic vulnerability order in 1960, what we see as outcome is what? We see a very fragmented or non-existent public-private linkages in Thailand here. And it leads to what here? Low level of technical, what they call technical intellectual capital. You don't need to develop your A in terms of what? If you have that Y equal A thing L, right? You don't need to develop that A things, right, in the past. Because you have what? You have rich resource. And the one in power doesn't have to care about what here? Getting more technical intellectual capital, because now you still live by freely, right? Even that you still have the rich natural resources, and also in terms of modern day, you might still have what? You might have abundant labor, right? That you can get it and work in what? Labor intensive industry or whatever. But in the case of Singapore, they cannot stay in labor intensive industry for so long, right? Why? You don't even have enough labor to work with you. We have only what, 3 to 4 million people, right? So then, if you want to stay in power and if you want society to move outward here, while you are still staying in power, you need to have what? High level of what we call technical intellectual capital. And what we see is that during the 1960s to 1980s, for the first era during the Lee Kuan Yew families, the other thing that they made this into be something like you might call populist policy. They have a social structure in which they even try to maintain the level of Gini coefficient to be at about 0.36. Because what? People can see what they lead from their development of labor, right? You are more productive. You get a better housing from HDB. You get a better wage. And then your wage are not that much difference compared to the other one else in the societies. When you study and work as what? Engineer, or work as a technician, your income are not that much different compared to other guys who work for the government and everything else here, especially in 1960s to 1980s. But in the case of Thailand, you might see that we always have what, and it still even exists today, it's okay, high income inequality, right? Because we don't have need share. And need to share is needed because of what? If you want to share, if you want to have border coalitional structure, right? If you can't have that, okay, what we suggest is, what we conjecture is that you're going to keep on having lower level of technical intellectual capital all the times in the past year. And what we believe and what we see in 2009, when we put up together is that in 2009 when they did that paper with Brian Ritchie is that in the case of Singapore, okay, even they have high external trade rate, small country, then but you are more homogeneous, which means what? You are more similar, right? Among the case, you have about 70% Chinese, about 10% Malaysia, and then about something about the Indian population in a similar fashion over there. So then we have what? In terms of this structure in 2009, in which we believe Singapore are more broad-based, okay, with participation across both in class. in which is what we believe in 2009. And also back to 2009, when we look at Thailand, when we did that paper together, we see what here? Narrow with low participation, primarily from ruling elites. The power that has been shared, okay, it is something like that. When you are simply rich countries, okay, what we see is that for this particular country, right, like Saudi Arabia or Thailand, right, you might not think Thailand is rich in as compared to Saudi Arabia, right? But in that case, when you are rich and you can still exploit population dividend, agricultural sector and something else, right? You hardly gonna even see more participation here, especially in terms of political participation and more or less, right, in terms of that distribution of resources, but not distribution alliance, okay, but distribution of resource to make people more in terms of more or less income equality here, more equalized. However, okay, that is what we see in 2009. But what we see more is that if you want to explain things beyond 2009, these things can just come back and haunt us again in terms of dynamic system vulnerability. Because from structural condition, coalitional bread rate, is certain line of decline with linkage here, and with high level of technological capital over there, it leads to what? Economic development rate, in which it can be starkly different between Thailand and Singapore in 2000. And later on, these things feed back to what? Feed back to structural condition again. And when these things feed back to structural condition once again, the process inside gonna recurring but different. So that's why I call this one dynamic systemic vulnerability. Because it just not only that you can meet only one critical juncture over time. You can create your own critical juncture, or you can think that, okay, this time I want to create something, right? Given the current underlying economic condition, if we want to move further, how can we move? So that is the thing that we see in the case of Singapore, okay? In the case of Thailand, sorry to just use Thaksin a little bit here, but in 2010, okay, what we see is that we still have taxonomic, right? A little bit of taxonomic over there. And even right now, we still a little bit of taxonomic over there. What we see is that they also pursue the same thing, right? In 2000, during the 2010 and 2000, during Thaksin era, right? Both of them had what? Michael Porter. To do what? To do what Michael Porter do best, right? Cluster. And sorry to just say this, okay, Thaksin hired Michael Porter during 2002. Singapore hired Michael Porter to do the report with NUS in 2006. And the cluster that they suggest are what? Similar cluster. And you may find it very odd why we still stuck with middle income trap, why Singapore just pursue that cluster real successful. And also you might see that for Thailand here, we have Michael Porter, we have cluster, we have industrial operating similar to Singapore, right? But nothing much to say about what? What is the result of this development going to benefit Thai people here? Singapore still have what? They still have housing development board over there. Because if you want to develop further, right, you have to provide people with something, right? It's still there. Housing development, education. However, okay, what is the other thing that in which it might be slightly different from Thailand and Singapore is that in one part, Singapore is city state. In 2000, in which we know that they are limited to what? Manufacturing sector. You just get what here? Internationalization, right? I want to be a center of something. And here comes the part in which, okay, they use culture, they use education to what they say, okay, in 2008 report by the reporter, they call it remaking Singapore. And the other thing that might be different, okay, in 2008 and 2009, what Singapore did is they set up what we call strategic foresight center. They import, if you don't have a specialized guy, they import the guy from Finland and Sweden to just bought the idea, right, to set up what they call strategic foresight center to make what a forecast of only not only short run, right, but also long run. In Singapore, if you don't want to talk about whatever, right, they're always gonna put time frame for you, right, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, and it just comes from these. But Thailand, okay, given that we don't have what we call creation of public good, right, that can make a border coalition before. That's why taxonomic with what of police policy It's just a thing that the other country already have that, right? In Singapore, you don't have a free house, but you have subsidized house, subsidized transportation. Sounds to be similar thing, right? Like Bangkok, for police policy in the first era, and then they have what all of those train or whatever out there, right? But that is a thing in which what, for the case of Thailand, we follow them, but 30 years later, something like that in this particular case. That of course we are not sure all, okay, but these are the way in which, okay, population either in Thailand or Singapore, if you want to get a broader population, it doesn't come for free, right? If you want them to participate in whatever development process, more and more, you have to provide them with what they call, okay, we don't call it side payment, or actually public goods. Good or bad, we are not sure all, but you need to provide that to the people, right? If not, nobody gonna care about what government gonna do. So in this particular case, okay, what we do next is that what we see actually for Thailand in 2013 is that if the dynamic change and what is the response in 2013, and what actually happened to PAP in 2013 is that rather than being up here, right, with broad and wide participation, in 2009, 2013, after the weather storm or whatever, right, of hamburger crisis and other crisis, Singapore become a rich country. And then what happened in the mind of those guys at the top, okay, when we interview some of you over there, Singapore become what here? Less what? Less participative, right? Become narrow because what people up top doesn't care much about what they seem to care in the 1980s anymore. Singapore Gini coefficient turned out to be what? 0.48 something, okay, in some particular year. And that leads to something else that we're going to talk about next of what Singapore restaurant or Singaporean government restaurant. For the case of Thailand, when we trace it back to the policy and everything else, right, we still walk here, we still stuck here. In which normally what people believe, right, that you are still with high resource, you don't need broad participation, now participation still to be fine. But the response is going to be different. Because when Singapore or PAP realize that if they let that things happen, right, with those migration policy and all those industry policy, right, your vote count gonna go down, and it was actually go down. And when it was actually go down, what did they do is what here? Now they talk more about what? Or they implement more about what we call distributional policy. They actually want to be more active on what? Reducing the income inequality. And they provide something like what? Re-educate the people, right? When you become obsolete or whatever, we're gonna re-educate you. And one of their goals is what here? Just come back up to above or the top half. Because they know, the government realize that even though they are rich, right, with more resources to invest anywhere in the world, but back to their own condition, right, in terms of dynamic system, in vulnerability, you still want a broad coalition. In the case of Thailand, okay, if you follow either the Thasanee government, Yulan government, or whatever, right, one thing that we still believe to be true is that we still have high natural resources. In which you track Thailand to the current period right now, do we have high natural resources at all? In 1960, the answer is no. And what we suggest that if you want to move out from MIT, you have to realize that not only in terms of 1980s argument that you need broad participation, right? But right now it is a good time to move. Because of what? What we track is what here. Right now we don't have any resources anymore. Can you rely the model of the past to just rely on agriculture? High level of labor? No. Right now, this year is what the peak of Thai population, right? This year. And next year, our population starts to decline given the aging population. You don't have any abundant labor to work with anymore. Think about what agricultural products. Do you have anything else to do with agricultural products? No. Your labor is going down. And are your soil fertile? It used to be there, so it's no, right? And we are still stuck with what? The same old industry in which they still use a massive amount of labor-intensive goods that we produce. And you cannot move up the ladder because of what in the past. All those things that happened in the past, right? Education that focus on what only political priorities and else. You cannot move up. But if you want to move out, one thing that might be a suggestion for us to move out of MIT is that you need abroad, and you actually need it here. And actually need it means what here for the conclusion? It's just saying this one here, okay, for my conclusion part. In the past, right, low external threat, seemingly high economic resource, and narrow horizontal break might put Thailand into MIT, similar to what we see on MIT. But for the case of Singapore, when you have high external threat, low economic resource, and broad horizontal break, I will not say that Singapore used to experience MIT at all. They never ever face a long-term stagnation at all. Before you just get into whatever trap, you just go out that first. Why? High external threat. You want to be sustainable by yourself, right? But you can't. But right now, yes, they can actually here. And at the part, dynamically, okay, with low cyclical intellectual capital and low potential break for Thailand, we haven't changed the economic development structure at all, that much at all here. Then dynamically, with this low technical intellectual capital, you cannot move out of MIT. However, for Singapore, right, when we have high technical capital, but low horizontal breadth, as I said to you, right, Singapore lands in new problems, but they respond real fast. When you move from what broad coalition to a smaller coalition or narrow coalition, you know that you're gonna have problems, and when you run into a problem, you just solve it here. After the current election in Singapore, right, they are known for what? To what program something like what? Educating people, stress more on creativity, right? And then they care more about people who are what? Poor. Because of what? If you cannot keep people stay in Singapore, you have to rely on what? Immigrant labor, right? Either high skill or low skill, but that is not sustainable at all for the Singaporean people. If you run into the problem, you just pick it here. And last but not least, okay, for suggestion for Thailand, something like this, okay, might be for Thailand case. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a good suggestion or not, okay, it's just opening for discussion here. Consensus on low level of economic factor of production. That is one thing that I suggest and talk in the other presentation is that should we think right now that you have a problems and the problem is by far more simple than everything else. You have lower level of production of economic factor of production in almost everything. From labor, not only on terms of quantity but also quality too. Agricultural resources, both in terms of quality and quantity too, right? That you have a problems right now in terms of factor of production. Not to mention industry in which the same things happen, right? So then, if you believe that you have low level of factor of production, you tend to be more or less what? You need a broader coalition and you need a consensus, right? That you want to move out of this one here. Like in 1960, okay, even though at that time in Singapore, only elite like Lee Kuan Yew, right, and all those rich guys over there and technocrat guys over there, even though they realize that they have problems, right, for Singapore case, they have to reach out to what? To any part of civil societies to move out of the poverty. But in Thailand, if we don't have consensus on these, okay, we might not even say that we have willingness to even move out from MIT. Or even have capability to move out from MIT out here. So for me, the other thing I suggest, okay, but the paper haven't finished yet, is that we have to create what? Both creating broader coalitional breadth and as well as what we call sense of urgency. In 1960s, okay, Singapore need and they actually want to move out. In Thailand in 2016, do we need? Nobody cares, right? If we talk even about among economists, nobody cares that we have to move out of this one, right? And what here? And anybody care about creating broader coalitional breadth in Thailand here in terms of coalitional origins? We can throw this one out the window right now, right? If what happens. So in this case, okay, what I suggest before all this is that how can we reduce what? Reduce this divisional alliance in which you do what here? Get the resource from rural area, right, to the urban area like in the past. You have to reduce that, okay, along with what here? You need to create a developmental alliance. Rather than doing this, rather than just ignore this particular part here. If not, okay, but startingly different things that Sui agree was 2015. Akira Sui suggests about Thailand MIT in 2015. He said that, okay, for Thailand, you have no things, right? And you have what a very narrow collection here. So what you should do in order to avoid MIT is what? Go back to do food, agriculture, and business. Just that. If you don't move, right? And if you like live like sabai or whatever over there, just stick with what? Agriculture, food, and wellness, right? And that is what a slap in the face a little bit, right? Akira Suehiro presented his paper in what? In Carnegie Foundation presentation last year. And that is, if you don't have all these, you're not even say that you can move up, for sure. And last but not least, okay, for all these part, can you use Singapore model? This is the other thing I'm trying to ask, okay? If you want to follow Singapore's model by going out of middle income trap, in the case of Singapore, one part that they can move out of middle income trap is what? Initially, you have to control what? You have to control income inequality. That might be very odd, right? But nobody in economics, high main school, going to say that we should control that. Whoever done that in the past. But when we talk with Professor Lim Chong Ya, right? He used to work for National Wage Council in Singapore for over 20 years. All he says is what? Under my guy, Bin Siemens over there, we want to maintain Gini coefficient at about 0.36. And they have done that for over 20 something years. If you want to follow Singapore at first, care about this one. The model of what coalition in 1960s to 1980s. But later on, okay, if you forget to do about this, yes, you can grow real fast, right? But your income quality is going to be very high. But that is standard textbook economics, right? High growth, high inequality. Because you don't control inequality over there. However, okay, the sense of income, high income quality in the 1980s and right now in Singapore come from what? Because if you want to move real fast and adopt Singapore model, the one thing that happened and we found out when we talked to experts that focus food in Singapore is that people feel stressed because of not low income, but their stress somewhat here being obscure and being obsolete. When you interview mechanical engineers in Singapore right now, they have to read studies and find another job. Why? Because Singapore moved out of that mechanical engineering jobs already. And if you graduate and got your bachelor's in mechanical engineering 10 years ago, you become obsolete. And that's why inequality in the modern day has been created and creates stress. But it can maintain a high growth. But that growth is for what? To avoid stagnation. So if you want to follow Singapore model, and people say something about what trading nation or whatever, right? But Singapore, but these are the things in which, okay, Singapore care about trade because they used to be in the port state. But other thing else, they have to do these two along the way. You cannot trade alone, right? If you are trading alone, it's just merchant, right? You have to have your production base too. And also the other thing else that happens with Singapore is that the problem is this. When people become obsolete, do they want to have kids? Have an obsolete kid over there too. When you cannot just be relevant for yourself. Singapore people need work here. They get married, but their TFR or fertility rate is the lowest among the world here. Also fertility rate is the lowest one among the world here. Because you don't want your kid to be obsolete too. And if you don't want to be obsolete, the other thing that they do is what? Transmigration, right? I will say that moderate to relatively good people in Singapore, right? If they don't want to be obsolete in the next 10 years or whatever, what they did is what? Go somewhere else. And that created a problem too. And that's why for Singapore, okay, they get what they call global citizenship, in which they open what here. If you have skill or not skill, right, come here. Work and get high salaries. Because what? Because people inside by yourself, right, they can cope up with stress, right, change all the time. If you want to follow Singapore model, right, you have to be aware that you also have, for the case of Thailand, you have to open yourself to more, I would say, foreign immigrant in whatever type of jobs too. If not, it's just what? You cannot move out of this MIT. And the other thing, okay, management of costs that we can learn from Singapore or not, right? On poverty inequalities, we cannot learn much from Singapore in this particular case here because what? They just only start to do in this 2 year, later 2 year that if you want more broader participation, right? You just want transfer the income to the bottom here in the case of Singapore. If you earn less than 2,000 Singaporean dollars a month, Singaporean government going to provide you with more transfer for the families, okay, the poor family that have 2,000 per month. However, okay, the thing that makes Singapore different from Thailand is that when you know that when you import more immigrant labor, it costs more income quality, right? And then what they do for the current period is what? They put a stop on the immigrant labor right now. In response to what here, if you still want to have a border coalition, right, sometimes you have to forfeit something too. In the case of Thailand, can we do that? Management of the cost here, I'm not sure all. Okay, can we put a stop on immigrant labor right now? To what here? To make that 300 baht still work or make higher wage to be comparable to living standard here. I don't think that the case of Thailand is suitable here. For stress, what we can be learned from Singapore is what here? One part, they just say just burden on citizen and the citizen do it by yourself. However, okay, if you look at what new model of education in Singapore right now, what they promote is not to get the maximized teams of PISA score, right? Because right now they still get number 1 team in PISA score for this year too. But what they promote more often for this particular last 2 years is what? Students need to be more resilient. Why? Because you know by yourself that under this model, right, you're gonna be obsolete. But for obsolete to be more useful for yourself, right, you have to be resilient, relearn. We study it, we do the things. And that is the thing that we can learn from them here. But in Thailand case, I'm not sure okay, whether this new model of education is going to be usable or not. But this is the way in which okay, Singapore government right now manage the cost of all those way in which they move out of stagnation. And last one, okay, that you might find very odd because I have to talk about culture a little bit here. The other thing that we might find very odd is that we cannot learn much about population structure of Singapore in the long run to solve our aging problems, okay, that we encounter because we have lower production resource. However, what we see to be very odd is that Singapore is more or less, I think, going to be more autonomous than Thailand here. They have the white paper that has been pulled out already from the website because people just hate it. The white paper is saying that for the next 10-something years, we want to maintain the race composition of people in Singapore. We want to have about 70% Chinese. So if we don't have enough Chinese, what should we do? Import Chinese from China to maintain the race mix or race composition. If we don't have enough India, yes, import Bangladesh and India. That is how they manage it here. But we cannot learn from them about that, okay? Because when they do this, the problem becomes what? When you import with the fixed quota, if our Singaporean guy, right, or Singapore people, right, either Chinese Singapore or Malaysian Singapore, right, what will we do? When they always keep importing new guys, should they have my children? Should they have my kids? Or should they have my family here? The answer is that if you have enough choice or if you have enough chance, right, when they interview with Singaporean people, I'm gonna go out work in London. I'm gonna go out work in Sydney or in other countries. And then it just like that, right? People don't have kids. Get married, yes, but have kids, no. And last one, okay, when they want to have that classification of what skill and unskilled labor, right? What Singapore did more, and you might find it very odd, is that Singapore did what we call urban development, right? Key part that we need to learn is that if you want to have a group of people to just work in Singapore, either skilled or unskilled, you need to have what? Housing for them, right? And that's why they have a plan for urban development for the past 7 years, actually past 50 or whatever of HDB. If you don't have the house, whoever gonna come and work for you. If you don't have transportation, whoever gonna come and work for you here. And that's why they have laid out these since 1960s, okay? Not only for their citizens, but also for what? For immigrant labor. However, okay, the other thing that happened is what here, and you might see in recent year, why did Singapore pull out all those F1 things, right? All those cultural things, all those nice concerts, right? Because without culture, or even without manufacturing culture or manufacturing culture, no expat gonna be there. Why should they stay in Singapore when they go to London or other places, right? So it just become a more or less complete package compared to the case of Thailand. We don't have to manage this cost at all, right? Because we haven't moved out. We're just doing something yet. But these are the things in which we can learn from Singapore. If you want to be some things, right? Or if you don't want to be stagnant, right? You need to provide with all those particular things for them. It's just not saying that, okay, we want to just get Thai talent from abroad to come and stay in Bangkok and work in Bangkok or whatever. Or they will just say that, okay, if you want more accommodated labor or Myanmar labor, how should we accommodate that? We don't see that things, right? In Thailand at all. So that is, okay, because what we can learn is that we have to manage all these costs, right? But in Thailand, no management at all. Or whatever here. So that's going to be the end. The paper is still in the working paper process. Okay, I sent it to the Thailand Research Fund for final review, and then I'm gonna try to further adjust it according to all those comments, and you also your comment are all always completely welcome here. Because it's just still in the working paper process. Okay. Sorry, I talk.
If you have any comments or questions, you can.
Oh, would you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, very interesting. Because middle income trap. I've looked at it from a very economic point of view, but I think it's economic, but it's you talk about coalitions and so on, and existing resources and so on. It's a very interesting framework to understand. I find it very broad. Your analysis. So, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
Actually, this one, when I talk to people in political economy, right, they say to me that you are too specific because you have only three factors: structural, in structural condition, right, economic high threat, coalition of structure, and then resources. They say that I'm too narrow. So I'm not sure how to answer these two, but. The implication is quite broad, as I say, because I try to do a comparative studies in our political economy between the two countries. I look at policy, I look at the outcome. And we pursue similar policy since 1960, even under Thaksin era. Similar policy, but what actually lead to outcome? That's why I try to find a framework that fit. Okay, one framework is systemic vulnerabilities, okay, in which I did a paper with the Barichi in 2009. But when I think about it more is that it just can explain only a snapshot, right, and critical juncture in 1960. But what one want to see is that it's going to be more dynamic than that. Government adjusts to economic condition, based in structural condition, right? Takes no threat as well as the level of the resource that you have. Singapore used to be very poor, and then they managed it quite well, right, to have a border coalition until a certain time period. But then later on, when I will say that when the sun take over, right? Now you think that you are rich, right? You don't have to care. You are more narrow among only your group. But then later on, okay, when you are narrow, that thing bite back. You have higher inequalities, and people vote for you less. You change.
I mean, I think my big question would be. You've outlined these factors, these three broad factors, and you go into some detail and so on. And then, you're finding middle income trap as, really graduating higher tech production and so on. Do those things come together? Does the one explain the other? That's I think the question. So certainly there are these differences between Singapore and Thailand in terms of resources, in terms of structural coalitions, in terms of external threats. But do those things, they're different than Singapore, but do they actually explain?
They explain that Singapore never, even though they face the stagnation period, right? But they stagnate there only 1 or 2 years at most. because we have to move. If you don't move, you will not survive. But in Thailand, you can be, I would say, stagnant for a long period of time, and you can still survive, given that you have high resources, or I would say, used to be high resources. And then, even with that high resources and low external threat, you don't have any incentive, especially for the elite, right? You don't have incentive to move up. In the modern world, in modern day, they call move up the value chain. But in the past, it's mean that you don't have to move from one low level of technical and intellectual capital to the higher one.
If you think about Singapore, though, you think about a country where certainly, from 59 to 65, and then after 65, there is this problem of an external threat. But you could argue that, since then, since say the late 1960s, has Singapore does it really have an external threat?
They still have, or in modern day, we call it manufactured external threat. Government always create what the sense of urgency all the time by themselves, right? In the past, yes, it has been external. But right now, they're saying that, okay, if you don't move out, you will not survive. It's just been a thing that has been ingrained, or I would say social structure, more manufactured by the government in the current period. And if you go to Singapore right now, okay, what they feel about the threat the most is what? Can you guess? What is their most fear?
External threat.
They fear about Islamic people. And it is a thing in which the government created too. Even though it's real or not, okay, when you talk to whatever, right, it creates a sense that, okay, we need to move up, we need to have more. Actually, Singapore spend a lot of money on military budget each year. Compared to Thailand, in terms of GDP, I think it's higher. They create this because of what? It's just a way in which people feel the sense of urgency, right? And you have to develop yourself furthermore. And how can you have enough money to buy weapons in a similar sense? Get higher GDP, get higher growth, no matter what cost. It just becomes a thing in which, okay, people might not realize, okay, but they always create something like this. That the sense of urgency, and one part that I haven't put in the paper is just a speech by Rami Menon, MBS, right? Secretary of Singapore governor. He said that he laid out, okay, what's going to be the next 50 years for Singapore. And even in his speech, okay, he created one part about the external threat. We're gonna say that in the next 20 years we're gonna do quite fine. But for that next 20 years, we're going to have something that he called a cyber attack, cyber war in the world. So then we have to be ready for that. So it is the way in which Singapore government tries, I would say, control or manufacture this external threat because they know that it worked in the past. And it makes sense that you have to just for normal people, you have to be more of what here, harmony game, right? You have to stick together, be one Singapore nation. We look in the future, we know that external threat going to be there.
Okay.
In whatever 50, yeah. It's just something like that you might find very odd about the Singapore case. But compared to the case of Thailand, if we think about what, just ask to any of your Thai friends, do we have any threat at all? Or do you feel about any threat at all to move up?
No, and I think it's easy to look also at Taiwan and Korea, because Korea always has the external threat from North Korea.
For North Korea. And Taiwan used to have that. I would say that for this
Taiwan
Korea,
has this relationship with mainland China.
Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore. All these three countries, that's why I certainly being is good in static sense, okay? Because all these three countries, they share the same trauma. After the World War II, right? During the World War II, all these three have been occupied by Japan. And during that particular time, okay, it's just the thing that has been ingrained inside all those generations over there. In Singapore, you might find it very odd. Okay, if you go to Thammasat Museum, they have portrayed the period in which they have been occupied by Japan for 3 years. Not like in Thailand in the Thai melodrama story. In that 3 years, you have to study Japanese. And people might not know that you have to be study Japanese, right? And all those soldiers, torture, or whatever people over there in Singapore. And that is what make people, the Lee father, okay, the Ponyufat generation saying that we need to just move. Since Japan occupation, then have been kicked out of Malaysia, and then confrontation with Indonesia in 1960, as you say, that's correct. But later on, okay, they try to generate this feeling all the way that okay, if Malaysia shut down our water supply, that is the thing that they say in 1970 or 1980. If Malaysia shut down our water supply, what should we do? If we don't have this and we don't have that, and you might
Make
find
water from the sea.
right now, they,
Yeah, why not?
right now they are about 80%. Okay, when I talk to the water economists over there, they are 80% water sufficiency by themselves. And last summer, they sell back the water back to Malaysia. When Malaysia have the water problems. That is the thing in which they try to, I would say partially, it's not being manufactured. External trade. Because it used to be there too. But then it has been, I would say, ingrained okay, into the Singaporean curriculum and by the government by itself. That you need to have these in order to move. So that's why when I talk about this to the political economist people, they say you three factors are too limited. There should be more factors to broaden the factor here. And it's good to talk to economists too, saying that okay, three factors is too broad and sometimes too narrow or whatever. And the other thing that you might find very odd for Singapore that I can share is that not only about these, okay, but when they get richer, that I say in the 2009 slide, okay, people that feel that they are more marginalized the most are Indian and Malaysian, Singapore. And it just turned out that they vote less for the government, right? Because they feel that they are not, they used to be in a border coalition, but after they become so rich, right, Chinese also start with Chinese. And that's why in the later, I would say the later, after the latest election, now they spend more money on what? Poor. We might say populist policy or whatever, right? But they spend money more on the poor, right? Government have more programs for the poor. In which it never happened before in Singapore. Because one thing that Singapore don't want it to be is that you cannot earn the money for free. But after you know that the coalition become too narrow. Now the government by itself respond, or people who are in power respond to that. But in the case of Thailand, when we think about in terms of dynamic system equality, right? The coalitional structure in the case of Thailand, I'm not sure whether it should be bad thing to say right now or not. Since 1960, I don't think it changed much. If it's narrow, it's still narrow.
Yes. I think the topic is very interesting, but still, several things are not clear to me. Particularly the word when you say broader coalition and more participation. I wonder how you define participation. Because I don't think we can just take it for granted that participation as such. If participation could lead to many positive change, it must have a very concrete definition. So I wonder how you define the word participation in this case. Secondly, to me, I feel that the middle income level is taken as something that every country try to overcome and to go beyond. I wonder if this middle income can be universally applied. Every country would like to say, okay, we want to escape from middle income trap. And this middle income is applied to every country, right? The same level.
That's why I don't put any income over
No,
there.
no, no. And this is maybe not in exactly that, but to me, every country with so much diversity, culturally, politically, economically, middle income standard would be meaningless to me, because middle income does not imply better well-being of people, because it's more of showing the the better materialistic improvement, just that. So I wonder if we talk about, if we want to escape from middle income trap, there is a universal level of income that country that rich that try to overcome or not. Or it can be different level which will be compatible to each country. So first of all, the word participation. Could you explain what does it really mean?
Normally in terms of participation, right, the easiest definition is that we look at the quality index in which they create one index, right, that in which it just shows whether length from -1 to 1 to say whether this country, okay, whether people participate have their many index that we can put in there, okay, but in short, okay, one part, if we want to be definitive, right, Bruno de Mesquita create the index for that. We call it quality index. But in short, in terms of participation, it means that you have the social structures, okay, in which something like social organization, right, that people in the upper elite group here, they want to share the results. One, we can measure by participation in political activity and anything else, right? Something like voting in other civic society organizations. So that might be very vague too. But they can count and create the what we call quality index, okay, in which it can range from -1 to 1 across the country. Secondly, okay, from my part, when I compare between Thailand and Singapore, it's just the way in which, okay, the ruling class, the ruling elite, okay, want to share resource, want to provide all of those side payment to how many group of the people in the country. Or is it, and also it is about the other thing, the other concept about participative is what? Are you more or less want people to just develop or form developmental alliance together, or you just only want to distribute the resource from some part to the ruling part of the country? If I use this measurement thing when we compare between Thailand and Singapore, because in Singapore case, right, you don't have the resource to just extract from whoever who live in the north, south, east, or west, right, to the middle part, like in for PAP families, okay, or PAP party. But in Thailand case,
to me, the participation would be the means that would lead to improvement in the quality of the citizens. It cannot be represented by 0 and 1. It's more of qualitative aspect.
Yes, and
so just say participation, 0 and 1. I don't think that could really represent what is the concept of participation. In fact, participation would be a kind of learning, the process of learning. When you say people participate, it doesn't mean that I just sit there. I join this activity. No. Because 0 and 1, you will just ask and say yes or no. But it's more than that.
Yes.
So, I'm just, curious. And also, this kind of participation also depends on, quote unquote, the quality of the governance of the government.
In this particular case, I will say that we throw the quality of governance away because it's just about willingness, whether you want to share. You share the resource, you share information, you share the way in which you govern with broader or more participating
But
members.
in Thailand, it has long been, even up to now, when you look at the government, it's highly centralized.
Yes.
Since in the past, and it has never changed.
It has never changed because they don't have any need to change, in my sense, because that's three factor, right? Because then if you are central government and you can still what? You can still get your tax payment from rice. You can just still get the extracting the resource right from somewhere else, right? And pulling it into the central government. Then you don't have to just need a broader participation, right, or coalition to share all of those tax revenue or resource. So it doesn't mean only participating. It's not mean about only you just join whatever, right? But it means also about sharing of the economic means.
But suppose there's a simple question that how are you going to create more participation? Would you be able to recommend how?
One part I suggest is that For me, in terms of political economy, right, you cannot just create participation out thin air. Why? Just ask you maybe a stupid question here. Why did Thaksin have to win the vote from the northeast and the north? Because he wants to be in power, right? If you are ruling elite and you want to be willing, if you want to share resource, right, and you want to control the power, then there is what you increase more, even though it's just a bad government or whatever, right, or bad government or whatever. But then if you are willing to share, the first thing first, right, willingness to share the resource or willingness to let other people to participate in the resource sharing is a key thing. That's why I suggest that.
You said Ostrom, the Nobel Prize winner, who straight on participation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has explained, more clear
yes.
definition of what is participation.
We haven't been into that process yet in the case of Thailand, right? Because in particular part, there are no willingness to let people participate. The ruling elite doesn't need, right? Except that you need it when what? When you want to win election, you want to get more resource, or you want to get more support. And I'm not sure whether that used to happen or not, because what you might see is that even during the small party era, right? You just need to what here only participate in terms of what? You just get this amount of vote, right? And that. But not in terms of sharing the resource back. Not like in the case of Singapore, okay, in 1960, Lee Kuan Yew have to walking around, create his own civic societies, and let people share the same cause to run the country. But in Thailand, if you talk about in terms of politician, no. Only guy that did it to win the election is Thaksin. To win a major election is Thaksin, right? In the Thai history. But he willing to do it because of what it is the way his way to getting power. And when he getting power, it's just a textbook material in political science. When you win an election, what do you do next? Side payment or pay back to those who help you win the election. Even though you might think this one are bad governance or whatever, right? But these things are particular part is that you have to be willing to say that okay, we need more participation.
Yeah, I think
even though in terms of quantity first, okay, without quality.
The word coalition, participation, and so on, it would be very difficult to handle empirically. Particularly when you want to say something more definite, I think it would be extremely difficult, and it cannot be just 0 or 1 to me.
That's why
that's why
the index, something like that, because that index can be a continuous number, not continuous number, ranging from -1, -0.9 until 1.
I don't believe that.
Yes.
I think you need to have the whole process.
Yes.
To have the information of the whole process.
Yes. That's why we have.
But anyway,
that's why for this paper I have to do it qualitatively to look at.
It is a part that you have to develop. Further.
That's why I compare only two countries, because we have to look it out through the history to see what actually have been done in these two countries. Okay, I may be wrong in the case of Thailand because I'm not sure all. Okay, given the Thai political situation in the past.
Let me remind you this. In 1982, Thailand was first had the master plan for rural development. At that time, this master plan, was worked out by the team of Thammasat, academic people. Thasanee was chairman of this committee. So this master plan for rural development emphasized on exactly the words people participation. We say that people participation would be the means to improve quality of life of rural population. And because the word participation, people participation, it had been interpreted so differently by the government officials. They just said, well, in my district, people participated in a meeting when I call meeting. Hundreds of them showed up. That was not the concept of participation. Because in those days, this participation was meant to be a process of learning, so that people would be able to depend on themselves. to solve their own problem and so on, to be able to be relying on themselves. You see, that's why it reminds me of those words. So you use these words as well. So I wonder if there's a clear definition in this.
For me, in this particular school of thought, it just means first thing first, right? You are willing to share the resource of economic development with the other people. If you compare between Saudi Arabia, right, and in Thailand, both of them have rich resource, right? But then sharing of the resource might be a little bit different, right? In Saudi Arabia, just stick with only what? 100 families, okay?
But now still allows women to drive.
Yes, but right now, just have to wait for many years. And in Thailand case, in the past, it's just about whether even something like that, if you want to share the resource and if you want to be more a little bit more decentralized, not in the way that you just have to help yourself, right? But being decentralized in particular part is mean that you need partial support from the government too. But it's just the way in which how well you want to share the resource. If that part of the country they can correct by themselves, fine. But in Thailand case, even some easy thing like VAT, right? It has been that value-added tax, it has been accumulated into the central government, right? And that's why I say that for this particular school of thought, they focus more on sharing of the resource and sharing of not only about resource but power to just design something together. And that might be different from what Thasanee did in the past. They say that you have to be self-reliant, something like that. But this one is just not go to in that direction yet that much, okay? Because this one is mean about.
But Ostrom case still relevant.
Relevant because in Ostrom it's more or less about rural communities, and that rural community when they share, it just create what we call social bond or whatever in there, right? In social capital. But this one is a little bit different from that social capital.
It's more macro,
sense because this one is more macro and saying that it just depends on, and the keyword is that I'm not sure it that much. Okay, it's just about elite ruling parties want to share power and resource or not. In the Singaporean case, right, even though they are autonomous government ruled by PAP for quite some time, right, but they are more than willing to share because they have to share. Might feel very odd, right? They are willing to share because they have to share. If they don't share the resource or if they don't share the development thought, how the hell can they be in power because you are poor? And you might say, in other words, all the time that all the thing that Singapore have is that people, right? If you don't share with your people, how can you develop them to be more educated, more technical proficiency?
They share economic wealth, but they cannot share political power.
They share in a very realistic sense. That's why they share what? They just believe and they just create a social construct saying that
almost no opposition party.
If I share economic resource with you, now your life is good. You accept that way of living. If you accept that way of living, fine. We're gonna share you what the resource that you create. But then, if you talk, that's why I don't focus on the freedom of thought or whatever, or whether you can criticize the government or not at all. It's just sharing of a very simple things here, sharing of the resource, and partially by saying sharing part of power is mean what? Your decision has been taken into account by the one who are in power that your decision matter. And in this case in Singapore, right, your vote matters. If you don't like me because I'm doing this, I make your life miserable because of high income inequality. Yes, you can voice me to vote, right? Even though it's just autonomous one party case over there, then I'm gonna do this to you. You will accept it here. But in Thailand case, I'm not sure whether this thing have ever been in consideration or not. If people don't like what? If you don't like high income inequality, what will you do? Nothing, right? Except in the case of Thasanee, in which, okay, he need to share. He need to share. And the reason why you need to share is what? If you share, you're gonna get your power. In Lee case, the same thing because at that time they have Communist Party too. If PAP doesn't share, then you're gonna have the other guy, right? Opposite party, the Communist Party. my Italian case. I'm not sure what to say about it that much. That's why in my paper back in 2009 with Richie, it also saying what that it just become narrow coalition structures in it. And right now, that thing's okay, fight back because if you want to get more, if you want, I would say, but because that point is not here. If we want people to be more educated and you leave them out of this sharing process, right? Only a small bunch of people are going to be educated. And that's why you cannot have upgrading productivity and you cannot have all those pooling of resource or even have a social, I would say, social consensus that we have to move out of this one. And my second answer to Ajahn Sukum thing about middle income trap, that's why I don't say that I don't put any level of income at all here. I just use definition by Ajahn Sumchai and the one by
No, I wonder in the academic circle, do they have the norm?
People have the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, have the number of 10,000 something US dollars.
You see, I never believe that it could be a universal figure.
That's why I say that the middle income trap for me is like simple or like the economy. You cannot go beyond that. And your income has been stagnant here. And if I use
A simple is a very high quality life here.
Yes, and that's why that Japanese professor saying that Thai people cannot produce simple in 1990. We can produce.
I used to have one.
คือเราผลิตไทโยได้แต่ไทโยอาจารย์รู้ใช่ไหมครับว่าเป็นแบรนด์ญี่ปุ่นแต่เราไปก๊อปมาไม่เอาของลิขสิทธิ์เข้ามานะเราผลิตได้แต่ไทโยที่เป็นของก๊อปด้วยซ้ำไม่ใช่ไทโยจริง
Simple นี่แพง
นะซิปโป้ของอีกการฮัลโหล
เฮ้ยเขาเพิ่งเริ่มต้น
เสร็จแล้ว นั่นแหละครับแล้วมันก็เลยกลายเป็นสภาพที่ว่าคือผมก็เลยดีไฟน์มันอย่างง่ายกว่าคนอื่นนะคือไม่ได้เป็นความยากของผมคือคุณสแต็กเห็นแล้วคนอื่นแซงแล้วของไทยมันก็สแต็กเห็นนานจนกระทั่งปัจจุบันเนี่ย
บางทีเราก็มานั่งคิดนะ
มาเลยก็
ไอ้
แซ
ประ
ง
เทศเล็กๆกับพยายามจะ struggle เนี่ยเทียบไปรายได้นี่มันไม่มีเซนส์หรอกแต่ละประเทศมันไม่เหมือน
ผมไม่ได้ผมสตาร์ทโตจะให้ไปเกิ
พู
ด
ด
ไท
ถึ
ย
งพูดถึง
ไม่ได้บอกว่ามันอยากสแต็กเนตก็พอคือผมได้เป็นแค่ผมง่ายมากเลยแต่คือมิเริ่มทำแท็กผมคืออยากสแต็กเนตจะไปอยู่ในโปรเซสที่คุณไม่สามารถผลิตอะไรที่มันบียอนได้แต่ว่าดังจากนายที่มันนี่มันไปแล้วอาจารย์
คือเมืองไทยมันชอบที่อย่างนี้ชอบใช้ของแต่ไม่ชอบสร้างเองชอบซื้อ
ไม่ประเด็นคือ
อันนึงก็คือชอบซื้อคือเราไม่ R&D น้อยมาก
มันถึงไม่บอกว่าเราถึงไม่มี R&D ครับอาจารย์เพราะถามง่ายๆคือคุณไม่มีความจำเป็นต้องทำ R&D อ่ะ
ซื้อไง
ซื้อ R&D ก็ไม่ซื้อด้วยอาจารย์เพราะไม่มีความจำเป็น
ซื้อเทคโนโลยี
ไม่ซื้อด้วยอาจารย์ที่หนักกว่าคือไม่ซื้อด้วยก็คืออ่ะเมืองนอกสั่งให้ทำอะไรก็ทำ
เฮ้ยเราเสียค่ารอยัลตี้พีมเยอะนะ
รอยัลตี้คือรอยัลตี้มาจากอะไรอาจารย์มาจากบริษัท
โนฮาวทั้งหลาย
ที่มันมาตั้งเมืองไทยไม่ต้องเสียรอยัลตี้ชาวบ้านมันไม่ใช่บริษัทไทยซื้อโน้ตฮาวมาผลิตนะอาจารย์
ป้าหมายว่าเทคโนโลยีหลายอย่างที่เราจะต้องจ่ายตังค์เนี่ย
ใช่ครับคือมันตามออเดอ
ร์อย่างเกษตรกรจ่าย10,000 ล้านเนี่ยสำหรับระบบข้อมูลเขาเนี่ยใน10 ปีอย่างเงี้ยอันเนี้ยพัฒนามากจ่ายถูกกว่า
จ่ายไปมันไม่คือทำในงานนี้ไปฉบับนี้ไปตอนแรกคือผมทำแค่ Comparative Study มาไทยกับสิงคโปร์ใช่ไหมฮะว่าจะถอดบทเรียนอะไรไปไทยทำมารู้สึกชีวิตดูอับเฉามาเรื่อย
ๆไม่ธรรมดาว่าไปประเทศอื่นได้
ทำเป็นดีเพรสอาจารย์ทำเป็นดีเพรสคือมันดูไม่เห็นทางออกอาจารย์คือยิ่งเอาไอ้ตัว Dynamic ไอ้ Systematic Vulnerability มันแตะมาจับเนี่ยแบบเฮ้ยตกลงแล้วคือจะไปทางไหนล่ะในเมื่อปัจจุบันทุกอย่างไปทางนี้หมดว่าคุณก็ยังในโลกกันต่อไปฮะแล้วคุณก็รู้สึกว่าประเทศไทยดูรวยซะเหลือเกิน
ไม่นะมันไปเรื่อยๆอย่างนี้ไม่ไหวหรอกเพราะเดี๋ยวนี้
มันไปเรื่อยๆมัน
กำลังจะไปโลกอื่นแล้วตอนนี้
ไปเรื่อยๆมัน
จะไปบุกยึดโลกอื่นแล้ว
ก็เลยแบบเฮ้ยรู้สึกว่าทำไปเรื่อยๆแล้ว
โลกนี้มันหมดแล้ว
รู้สึกดีเพรสตัวเองก็เลยแบบเอาไงดีวะ
ซึ่งแปลกไอ้ inward looking มันกลับไม่ดีเหมือนต้อง forward looking พอ forward looking มากๆ resource หายหมด
ไม่แต่ forward looking สิงคโปร์อย่างที่อาจารย์เห็นนะครับคือว่า forward looking เขาก็ forward แต่เขา forward เพื่อสร้างเงื่อนไขบางอย่างให้คนในประเทศมันพัฒนาต่อ
แต่สิงคโปร์เนี่ยผมดูแล้วเนี่ยคนรายได้เยอะแต่ว่าของแพง
เครียดอาจารย์
แล้วคนมีบ้านนะ
ไม่มีบ้านนะ
เขาบางวอสซี่เขาสูงมาก
บ้านเป็นของรัฐครับ
เป็น
HDB
ใหญ่เท่าไหร่เนี่ย
เป็นคอนโด
เนี่ย20 ล้าน10 ล้านแสนเหรียญ
อ๋อไม่แต่ผมไปดูบ้านมาแล้วครับมีตั้งแต่
800,000
เหรียญในพวกระดับประมาณ5ห้องนอน
ไม่ถึง
คอนโด5ห้องนอนรุ่นใหม่
ไอ้หลานชายมันทำงาน
แสดงว่าอยู่ใกล้อยู่ในเมือง
อยู่ในเมือง
ถ้าอยู่ข้างนอกหน่อยเนี่ย
800,000
ถ้าอยู่ข้างนอกหน่อย500,000 เหรียญใน5ห้องนอน
50 ปีคือที่สิงคโปร์ไม่มีกรรมสิทธิ์
ไม่มีครับต้องเป็นคนที่รุ่นแรก
2 generation
ต้องเป็นคนรุ่นแรกๆอย่างโปรเฟสเซอร์ลินที่ไปคุยมาเนี่ยเขาเรียกว่า landed house คือบ้านที่มีที่ดินเป็นบ้านที่มีที่ดิน
มันจะมีบางคนมีที่ดิน
บางคนเท่านั้นที่มีบ้านที่มีที่ดิน
เก่าๆนี้โอ้แพงมาก
แพงมาก
มีที่ดิน
รัฐบาลทำโซนนี้ครับเปิดออคชั่นในการ
ไม่เขามีตั้งแต่ไหนอะไรตูนไว้ตั้งแต่ดีแล้วบอกง่ายๆก็ได้ว่าลูกสาวอิตาลุงลิมเนี่ยแต่งงานกับลูกลีกอนยูอ่ะ
โอ้โหที่นี่
ไม่ใช่
คนลีซิโลพันคน
หมายถึงว่าคอนโดจะสร้างใหม่ขึ้นมาเนี่ย
คอนโดที่สร้างใหม่ก็คือรัฐบาลคนจัดการหมด
HDB
ก็คือการแข่งขันเอกชนมีสร้างแต่แพงกว่ารัฐบาล2 เท่า
มันไม่ใช่
แต่ว่า100%ต้องไปเช่าที่จากรัฐบาล
เอกชนสามารถจัดการได้ก็
นี่ของหลานชายนี่นะไม่ใช่รัฐบาล
โอ้โหเป็นของเอกชน
ร่วมแต่ของรัฐบาลน่ะคุณภาพสู้ไม่ได้
โอ้ยอาจารย์
ถูกกว่า
ถ้าอาจารย์ไปดูนะคอนโด5 ห้องนอนหรือ3 ห้องนอนมันเนี่ยของรัฐบาลต้องแบบHDBเนี่ยตกไอคอนโดสุภาลัยอะไรกระเด็นเลยนะป่วยกว่าก็เถอะตกไปพวกสุภาลัยเอลดีกระเด็นไม่ต้องห่วงเลยฮะคอนโดรัฐบาลเนี่ยไฮโซมาก
ก็5 ห้องนอน
3 ห้องนอนก็มีเขามีไล่แต่2คือแต่งานใหม่ได้2 ห้องนอน
แล้วก็ของรัฐบาลน่ะไม่มีรั้ว
คอนโด
แต่ถ้าเป็นเอกชน
มีรั้วเพราะว่ามันแพงกว่าของรัฐบาลมาเท่านึง
ไม่น่าเหมือนฮ่องกง
ไม่เหมือนฮ่องกงเพราะว่าเขาไม่อยากให้เป็นแบบฮ่องกงเลยทำให้ไฮโซฮ่องกงจะมีแสงขนส่งใช่ป่ะ
แต่ฮ่องกงมัน
เซ็นโมให้ดีผมหมายถึงเรื่องที่ดินการบริหารจัดการ
คล้ายๆกัน
ดิสนีย์แลนด์ได้อาจารย์
สิงคโปร์มีโนซัมสิงคโปร์มีโนซัม
เมืองไทยแล้วก็มีสวนสยาม
ก็ถามว่าทำไมมันต้องมีเพื่อดู expat ให้ไปอยู่ไม่งั้น expat ไม่อยู่นะนี่ expat ก็ไปอยู่ฮ่องกงอยู่ที่อื่นหมดF1 คอนเสิร์ตเนี่ยนโยบายรัฐหมดเลยนะคอนเสิร์ตนโยบายรัฐขอดูละครทั้งหลายเนี่ยนโยบายรัฐหมดนะไม่เอกชนทำนะ
เครียดมั้ยคือเงินรายได้ก็เยอะแต่ทุกอย่างเสียตังค์หมดเอาเนี่ยทุกอย่างเสียตังค์หมด
เฮ้ยเรารายได้ต่ำเราก็คิดอีกแบบนึงนะจ๊ะ
กินใช้เดินถึงเลยเว้ย
คือผมก็คิดแบบนึงว่าผมอยากซื้อของก็ซื้อไม่ได้จะกินอะไรก็กินไม่ได้
ไม่จริงไงกินไม่ได้ไม่จริง
สิงคโปร์มันเป็นสวรรค์ของ expat
ห้ามไปพูดแบบนี้คนก็บอกไม่จริงนะที่บอกกินอะไรก็ไม่
ได้กินตะขาบเลยเป็นเกนี่
แฟตเตอร์กินตะขาบเหรอ
ฟังเหมือนแบบกินตะขาบ
กินตะขาบ
เดี๋ยวผมว่าอาจจะมีเขียนให้มันชัดขึ้นนะเพราะในพวกนี้ไอ้ตัวเรื่องของ sharing เขาไม่ไอ้เรื่องของ participation ก็ไม่เหมือนของใหม่
ครับคือคำนี้มันลำบากให้
ยากจริงนะเพราะมันก็จะไม่เหมือนของออสตอมด้วยเพราะของออสตอมนี่ก็คือแบบ
ออสตอมเขา
สังคมอยู่ด้วยกันสร้างโซเชียลแคปิตอลยังไงอยู่ด้วยกันพัฒนายังไงคอมมูนิตี้เบสยังไงแต่ไอ้นี่คนที่เขาที่บอกว่าของ่ายแชร์รีสอร์ทกับแชร์อำนาจถูกเปล่านั่นแหละง่ายมากแต่คอนเซ็ปต์เขาง่ายมากคือ
แค่0 กับ 1คนไปโหวตหรือเปล่า
ไม่ใช่ครับ
อัสซัมชันคือถ้ายิ่งมากยิ่งดี แต่มันไม่ใช่ตัวนี้มันไม่ได้บอกคือสุดท้ายจะเป็น qualitative
ใช่ครับเราอยู่เรื่องเราสโคปเป็นแค่ไหนนั่นเอง
แล้วเลยยาก
อย่างงานของแบงค์ชีเนี่ยเขาสโคปด้วยว่าคุณมา participate คือการเอา resource จาก elite เนี่ยมากระจายไหมแล้วคุณคอนเซิร์นชาวบ้านไหมง่ายๆของไทยไม่กล้าพูดโกหกขาด
มันอ่านเทปอยู่นะ
ว่าจะแชร์ไม่แชร์
จะพูดแล้วแบบว่า
แล้วตัวจริงนี่แมทเทอร์สมากเพราะว่าอย่างนี้เมืองไทยสังเกตว่าต่างจังหวัดเมื่อไหร่ที่พัฒนาตรงไม่ใช่คนท้องถิ่นนะทุนนอกหมด
ใช่ครับ
เนี่ยแถวชายแดนไปดู
พ่อค้าตรงนี้
คนท้องถิ่นไม่ทันได้แอมหรอกคนใหญ่ไปเลยไปหมดแล้ว
ก็โดนบริษัท
เพราะฉะนั้นมันก็ยิ่งที่ไปก็เลยมีคนไม่
มันก็แบบเหมือนในไทยปัจจุบันมันรันด้วยเกี่ยวกับตระกูลเองอาจารย์ คืองานโซเอโนที่อ้างถึงเนี่ย
ที่ปาจีนอย่างเงี้ยไม่มีงานสวที่บอกค่ะว่าแบบโดนกว้านซื้อที่ไปคน
ทันทีคนท้องถิ่นไม่มี
ใช่แล้วคือคนไม่มีเงินนะเพราะเขาไปซื้อปุ๊บก็
ก็ขายไปแล้ว
ขาย
ใช่แล้วมันกลายเป็นว่าตอนนี้จนไปเลยเขาต้องมาเช่าที่ทำงาน
ใช่
แล้วกลายเป็นว่าไอ้กรมชายแดนนี่มันพัฒนาที่ไร่หนึ่ง8 ล้าน 10 ล้านไอ้คนจิตใครไม่
ใช่คือพัฒนาเพื่อใครอาจารย์เขาขายไปตั้งแต่200,000
ทีนี้คนก็จะนึกว่าอุ้ยท้องถิ่นมันเจริญ
ไม่ใช่
แต่
นะ
ในร่องมันไม่เจริญ
มันก็ยังเป็นกลับไปสู่นิยาม
คนท้องถิ่นเขา
ผ
ขาย
มก็พยายามจะจับยัดไปสู่นิยามเดิมอาจารย์ว่าของเรามันก็ยังเป็นแนโร่อยู่ แต่เพียงแต่ว่าแนโร่เนี่ยเป็นมันคงเป็นแบบแค่อย่างเงี้ย
ไอ้โฮมสเตย์สู่สงครามพอเริ่มคนนิยมนะทุนนอกเข้าไป
หมดแล้วครับอาจารย์
ซื้อหมดเลยสร้าง
คนอัมพวาใช่ไหมคะ
ครับผม
อุ้ยแต่มันไม่ได้เกิดแค่ที่ไทยเดียวนะแต่ว่า
ทุกที่เนี่ยทุกที่
มันไม่ใช่โฮมสเตย์เนาะ
ไอ้
เมื่
ที่
อไหร่มันเริ่มดีปุ๊บทุนนอกไป
ที่มาเลยอาจารย์ในตรงที่ติดกับสิงคโปร์โดนจีนกว้านซื้อไปกว้านซื้อเป็นพันไร่นะเพื่อจะทำเมืองใหม่ เอาคนจีนมาอยู่
แต่คอนโดบ้านเราก็คนจีนซื้อเยอะอาจารย์
มากอาจารย์
แล้วเนี่ย
ก็เขาบอก4 ห้องตรงริสคาร์ตันนะไม่ใช่คนไทยนะ
4 ห้องบนข้างบน
ตรงสุดที่เป็นเพนท์เฮาส์
เวียดนามก็จะพัฒนาจังหวัดเพชรบุรีกับประจวบโอ้โหแรงก็
อาจารย์เอาง่ายๆเลยครับไอ้ที่เขาจะพัฒนาเลยเนี่ยปิดปิดหมดนะคุยเรื่องนี้มันจะโดนฟ้องกันได้นอกเรื่องละ
แล้วมันก็ไปโพสด้วยนะ
จะไปโพสต์ลง
เดี๋ยวเราให้พี่ติ๊กตัดหน่อยนะฮะ
เมื่อกี้คุณภาษาอะไรเนี่ย
ภาษาอังกฤษ
อ๋อ
ไม่ต้อง